Welcome learners, and welcome to this lesson of whole numbers. Let's start off our lesson with an interesting fact. Did you know? So, your brain is a natural calculator. Why am I saying that? It's because mathematics has many different methods where numbers can be calculated without the use of a calculator. Isn't that amazing? All you would need is your brain and a method. So let us look at these methods in today's lesson. By the end of this lesson, you will be able to perform multiple operations on whole numbers with or without brackets, find the multiples and factors of whole numbers, find the LCM and HCF using prime factorization. So, in today's lesson, this is what we are going to look at. We are going to look at calculation techniques with whole numbers. That is, adding, subtracting, multiplying using the column method, long division, rounding off, and compensation. Then next, we are going to look at calculations with numbers, with whole numbers. These are performing multiple operations on whole numbers with or without brackets. Then we are going to look at multiples and factors, where we are going to find the highest common factor, the HCF, and the lowest common multiple, the LCM, using prime factorization. Let's start with some pre-knowledge. So, you must be able to add, subtract, multiply, and divide whole numbers without the use of a calculator. Then you must also know the properties of numbers. That is, natural numbers, rational numbers, irrational numbers, real numbers, non-real numbers, and integers. You must also know the properties of 1 and the properties of 0. You must know the commutative, associative, and distributive laws. Let's answer the following questions, just to test that pre-knowledge. 3 plus 5. Now we know that 3 plus 5 is an easy one. This one can also be calculated as 5 plus 3. This shows our commutative property. We know that the answer there will be 8. Our next one, we have 3 plus 5 plus 7. Now, the 5 and the 7 is in brackets. To demonstrate our associative property, we can associate the 5 and the 7 to say that 3 plus, we know that 5 plus 7 is 12. And then we can add that together and our final answer becomes 15. What we can also do is that you can actually associate the 3 and the 5 together. So this would be the 3 plus 5 first, and then you go and you add the 7 after that. So 3 plus 5, we just calculated it there above, is 8. 8 plus 7, that still gives us 15. We are getting to the same answer. The next one, 2, open bracket, 4 plus 1, close bracket. So here we can demonstrate our distributive laws. So that we can say there, 2 times 4, which gives us 8, and then 2 times 1, which gives us 2. So 8 plus 2 is 10. Of course, you could have just added the 4 and the 1 in the brackets there, which would give us 2 times 5, which still gives us 10. Different methods, but the same answer. Let's move on. So 7 times 10, what does this mean? This means that it's 7 groups of 10. So 7 times 10 gives us 70. Okay, I hope you are coping. So let's move on to the next one. 12 times 12. So because the multiples of 12 might be a bit too difficult, then we can simplify it. The multiples of 10 are easier for us to work with. So let's look at this as 12 times 10. So these are 12 groups of 10. But because we have that 12 and another 12 that we left out of that 10, we need to add that after. So 12 times 10 is 120. Then we will add those two 12s there. We are adding 24. That gives us an answer, or a final answer, of 144. So 12 times 12 is 144. Let's look at more questions. So now we have 3,478 divided by 1. If you remember, the properties of 1 is that any number divided by 1 remains that number. So it means here our answer is going to be 3,478. Let's move on to the next one. So now we have 36 divided by 36. So this is also a reminder of the properties of 1. Remember that any number divided by itself will always give us an answer of 1, except for 0, but we will deal with that later on in this lesson. So 36 divided by 36 is 1. Our next one is 745 multiplied by 5 divided by 5. Again, the same number divided by itself will give us 1. So this is 745 multiplied by 1, because 5 divided by 5 gives us 1. So 745 multiplied by 1 is an answer of 745. The next one is 5 multiplied by 0. Remember, if we are multiplying by 0, these are the properties of 0, then the answer will be 0. Any number multiplied by 0 will be 0. And the last one there is 0 divided by 5. Again, 0 divided by any number except for itself. But 0 divided by any number will give us an answer of 0. Okay, let's look at the new words that we are going to be using in this lesson. Whole numbers. And remember, the symbol for whole numbers is a W. These are numbers that do not have a fraction. For example, 3, 5, 19, 200, or 1,345. Of course, there are many more numbers. Natural numbers. The symbol there is an N. All whole numbers that are greater than 0. For example, 1, 5, 17, and so on. Integers. The symbol is a Z. All positive and negative whole numbers, including 0. For example, -3, 5, 20, -100, and so on. Multiples, the product of two natural numbers. For example, the multiples of 4, and you can see there we are going to use M to indicate multiples. So the multiples of 4 there are 4, 8, 12, 16, and so on. Let's look at more words that we are going to be using in this lesson. So we have their factors. A factor is a number that divides exactly into a whole number with no remainder. For example, the factors of 6. And we can see there again that we are using an F to represent factors. So the factors of 6 are 1, 2, 3, and 6. And lastly, we have prime numbers. So a prime number is a number that only has 1 and itself as factors. For example, the factors of 2 are 1 and 2. The factors of 3 are 1 and 3. The factors of 11 are 1 and 11. And of course, we have more prime numbers. So for now, let's just go to an ad break and then we'll see you later.